All right, guys, we are live. It is Wednesday, the 10th of April, and I got a great show for you. Right now, we have the president and the prime minister, Kishida, uh, of Japan. They're about to do a fake press conference where they only answer pre approved questions from pre approved reporters. Uh, and Joe Biden probably going to shit himself. If I had to guess what would be going down right now, it would be Joe Biden shitting himself. The press conference has just started, so we're just going to go to that now. We're just going to skip our little intro. And yeah, what's going on, you guys? We got a great show. I'm about to go right over to that press conference, and then we have a lot of news, guys, to talk about. So please stick with me. All right. Here we are. Oh, wow,
Please,
we
have
got
a
some
seat.
people already here. We got Usi. We got
It's an
Beanie
honor to
Happy.
stand here
We got
today
Ronnie
with the
Braun.
Prime
We got
Minister
Anonymous.
of Japan, President Kishida.
What's going on,
Prime
guys?
Minister Kishida.
Glad you made it.
When I became president, I said that the United States would rebuild the muscle of our democratic alliances.
Oh, yeah?
And we stand shoulder to shoulder with our allies again. Because our alliances are...
I thought when you became president, you said that you would cripple the oil industry, surge illegal immigrants at the border, and destroy America's reputation on the world stage. Huh. Funny. I mean, he didn't say those things, but those are the consequences of the policies that he is choosing to support, right? Okay.
America's greatest asset. The relationship with Japan is powerful proof of that investing in our alliance and raising our collective ambitions, we yield remarkable results. Over the last...
The Japanese have a beautiful flag, don't they? The red sun. I just think that it's beautiful. I love everything about Japanese culture. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit biased, especially their women. All right,
last 3 years, the partnership between Japan and the United States has been transformed into a truly global partnership. And that's thanks
Joe
to no
Biden
small
also
part
said
to
surge
the
the border.
courageous leadership of Prime Minister Kishida, and I mean that sincerely. Together, our countries are taking significant steps to strengthen
that's
defense
an awesome
security
flag.
cooperation.
I'm just saying.
We're
The
modernizing
Japanese
command
are
and
awesome
control
people.
structures, and we're increasing the interoperability and planning of our militaries so they can work
Such
together in a
rich
seamless and
history,
effective
such
way.
a beautiful culture.
This is the most significant...
Not the most. They're not the most liberal society that ever existed. They're not. The most. Personal freedom oriented society. But their culture is beautiful and rich.
Significant
It goes
upgrade in our
back
alliance
thousands
since
of
the
years,
end
guys.
of-
Thousands
since it was
of
first
years.
established. I'm also pleased to announce that for the first time, Japan and the United States and Australia will create a network system of air, missile, and defense architecture.
Don't forget the Philippines. Yeah, well, the poor guy. The things that this man forgets. He's forgotten more than he's ever even learned.
We're also looking forward to standing up a trilateral military exercise with Japan and the United Kingdom. And our AUKUS defense partnership with Australia and the United Kingdom is exploring how Japan can join our work in the second pillar, which focuses on advanced capabilities, including AI, autonomous systems. All told, that represents a new benchmark for our military cooperation across a range of capabilities. On the economic front, our ties have never been more robust. Japan is the
Don't forget
top
to like this
foreign
video and
investor in
share
the
it
United
out,
States.
guys.
Say that again. Japan is the top foreign investor in the United States. And we, the United States, are the top foreign investor in Japan. Nearly 1 million Americans
Not only to mention,
work in Japanese companies here in the United States.
Not only that, but I need to mention the rich cultural exchange that's taken place between our two societies. It's really our relationship with Japan is a demonstration of how cultural exchanges benefit both cultures, right? America and Japanese, by blending our traditions and cultures, we've really just made such a better world out of it.
And to name just one example, a few months ago,
Hey,
Toyota
what's up,
announced
Steve,
an $8
baby?
billion investment in a massive battery production facility in North Carolina, which will employ thousands of people. Prime Minister is going to travel to North Carolina tomorrow to visit that project. Don't stay. Don't stay. We need you back in Japan. They'll probably try to keep you. He also affirmed the science and education ties between Japan and the United States.
Steve says he
Those
likes
ties,
the PlayStation
ties
also.
stretch
Yes.
up to the moon.
The PlayStation
Two
being one of the
Japanese
great
astronauts
things.
will join.
But also the art style, the anime and the chibi kind of art style, the ninjas, right? Like if you grew up in the 80s, all your favorite things have ninjas in them, right? Just martial arts in general. So many. I could just keep going on. Sushi, right? All kinds of things.
Future American
Anime.
missions, and one will become the first non-American ever
Hey,
to
what's
land
up,
on
Tim
the moon.
Tim?
And they reach into the high schools and
Oh, we got
universities
Joe
as well.
Biden
The
up
Mineta-
here,
Ambassador Minetta's program exists, named for our dear friend Norm Mineta.
We have Joe Biden up here demonstrating why Donald Trump is going to easily win the presidential nomination this year. Yeah, because of his incompetency and his inability to speak clearly.
We're going to invest in new student exchanges.
It's really-
help train
it's
the
really
next generation of Japanese and
bag.
American leaders. We'll also discuss developments in the Middle East,
No, I'm
including our
Donatello.
shared
I'm
support for a
Donatello.
ceasefire and a hostage deal, and urgent efforts to deal with the
What's up,
humanitarian
blind
crisis
dude?
that exists in Gaza.
No,
We also want to
I'm
address the
Donatello.
Iranian.
Oh, God damn it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is an American comic book, right? That created an American cartoon that was drawn in Japan, okay? Now, hear me out. That later spread to Japan and became just as big. So it's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right, are American ideas influenced by Japanese culture, created for an American audience that took over Japanese culture, right? It's like nothing is a better example of that, right? That's yeah, it's raining now. I'm sorry, guys. You guys know how it goes. How are we doing? Not well. Not well. It's not doing well. I can see that. Okay, it looks like it's stabilizing. Okay. All right, let's go.
Fact is that you condemned Putin's brutal invasion of Ukraine when it happened. You pledged more than $12 billion in aid, prioritizing nuclear nonproliferation at the China Sea. And as we
Are we back? God damn it. Can we please fix this? Okay, there we go. There we go. I'm back, baby. Yes, it's working. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Hold on.
the defense of Japan under Article 5, including the
We're back. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, the rain fucks up my internet connection. Hopefully it's good. It looks good now. Let's go.
Senkaku Islands is unwavering. Mr. Prime Minister, through our partnership, we have strengthened the
We
alliance.
should be good.
We have expanded our work together. We've raised our shared ambitions, and now the U.S.-Japan alliance is a beacon to the entire world.
It
There's
is.
no limit what our countries can and our people can do to the entire world.
It
There's
is.
no limit what our countries can and our people can do together.
I agree with that, but it has nothing to do with Joe Biden's leadership.
So thank you for your partnership, your leadership, and your friendship. And now over to you, Mr. Prime Minister.
Yeah,
はい、
I don't have
どうもありが
TikTok.
とうございます。上都、ジル夫人のご招
for
待、
inviting us.
改めて、感謝を申し上げます。Thank you, Joe.
It's funny. It's funny because in Japan, right, Americans are called Joes, right? They call us Joe.
President Biden and
I don't know,
I
it's
met
just funny.
and talked countless times and confirmed our shared notion that we are at crucial crossroads and that Japan-US partnership is immensely important.
That's funny, blind dude.
The international community stands at a historical turning point. In order for Japan, the US, the Indo-Pacific region, and for that matter, the whole world to
Yeah, those islands he's talking, the Kakao or Kukao or whatever they are Japanese-controlled islands that are near Taiwan and are under dispute by the Chinese. Okay, so that the Japanese have just been entrenching themselves on these islands, expecting China to invade Taiwan and Japan at that point. Okay?
enjoy peace, stability, and prosperity lasting into the future, we must resolutely defend and further solidify a free and open international order based on the rule of law.
Now we
And
just have
again
to sit
today,
through these speeches before we get
I told the
questions.
President that now is the time
Pre-approved,
to
pre-screened
demonstrate the
questions
true
only
values
from
that
intelligence
Japan and
assets,
the United States
posing
can
as
offer
journalists, of
global
course.
partners, that we must together fulfill our responsibilities to create
As
a
is
world
the American
where
way
human
now, I
dignity
guess.
is upheld, and that Japan will always stand firm with the United States. I explained that based on our national security strategy, Japan is determined to strengthen our defense force through possession of counter-strike capabilities, increase our defense budget, and other initiatives.
Okay, guys. This is a departure from conventional norms, right? Okay, so since World War II, Japan has not been able to have like a real army, right? They have to like depend on the United States to defend them. That was like one of the conditions of their surrender, right? But recently, because America is in decline, Japan has on their own started to beef up their military expenditure, starting to create their own aircraft carriers, their own war machines, and raise their own armies, right? This should be an alarming signal to those of us here in America that are actually know what the fuck is going on, right? Because it signifies the collapse of the American empire.
And was reassured by President Biden of his strong support for such efforts. In such context, we confirmed again the
yes,
urgency
Uzi.
to
Well, thank you for,
further
yes,
bolster
Uzi says they also
the
have island
deterrence and
disputes with
response
Russia.
capabilities
Japan
of
does.
our alliance,
God, Uzi, you are so well informed.
and concurred on reinforcing our security and defense cooperation to increase interoperability between the U.S. forces and our self-defense forces, including the improvement of our respective command and control frameworks. We will be discussing the specifics as we plan for the next Japan-U.S. 2+2. The President and I went on to discuss various specific challenges faced by the international community. First, we confirmed that unilateral attempt.
No, Uzi, I don't think you're using the word woke right. When we say woke, we mean how do you put it? like libtarded, right? Woke is the opposite of being well informed. It's being part of a cult, right? You are not woke, Usi. You are well informed and smart. You are what we call based, as in based in reality, brother.
Change status quo by force or coercion is absolutely unacceptable wherever it may be.
You are a base badass, bro.
And that we will continue to respond
Yes,
resolutely
based.
against such action through cooperation with allies
based
and
in
like-minded
reality, brother.
nations. From such perspective, we agreed that our two countries will continue to respond to challenges concerning China through close coordination.
Yeah, but they've corrupted that term awake and woke. No, woke is bad now. You want to be based in reality. You're too based for your own good, brother.
At the same time, we confirmed the importance of continuing our dialogue with China and cooperating with China on common challenges. We also underscored the importance of peace and stability in the Taiwan Straits and confirmed our position to encourage peaceful resolution of the cross-straits issue. The situation in North Korea, including nuclear and missiles development, was brought up as well. We welcomed the progress seen in many areas of cooperation based on the outcome of the Japan-US ROK summit last August.
Yeah, this is kind of boring,
and
but we just
concurred
gotta
to
get through this
coordinate
part
even
before
more
they answer
closely
and
as we
ask
face
questions.
serious concerns under the current state of affairs. President Biden once again demonstrated his strong support towards the immediate resolution of the abduction issue. We reaffirmed the importance of realizing a free and open Indo-Pacific based on the rule of law and concurred to maintain close collaboration through various opportunities, including the Japan-US-Philippines Summit, which is planned for tomorrow. Regarding Russia's aggression of Ukraine, based on a recognition that Ukraine today may be East Asia
We have
tomorrow,
Ukraine news. Death tolls in Ukraine are approaching 1 million
taking
officially.
the issue as our own problem for Japan,
Well, casualties,
I expressed
should
our
say.
resolution to continue with stringent sanctions against Russia and strong support for Ukraine, and we concurred to maintain close partnership with like-minded countries.
On the situation,
Well, yes, leave Japan alone culturally and economically, but we have a duty to defend Japan. Like, we promised them we would.
in the Middle East, I expressed my respect for the efforts of President Biden towards the release of the hostages, improvement of the humanitarian situation, and for calming down the situation. I then explained how Japan is continuing diplomatic efforts to improve the humanitarian situation and to realize a sustainable
Japan is a success story for why you should adopt Western worldview, right?
ceasefire.
Yeah, yes, someone's threatening Japan. China. And apparently Russia, too. Yes, the Chinese and Japan are enemies going back at least 600 years. Probably 1,000. But we know for a fact that the Chinese have tried to invade Japan twice. And both times, their whole entire fleet was swallowed up by the sea.
And agreed to continue close cooperation towards the improvement of the situation, the realization of a two-state solution, and the stabilization of the region. Regarding the
I don't
economy,
know.
we firstly
It's
concurred
possible.
that for both of us,
We have news on that, too. The inflation report came out. It's not good. It doesn't look like Wall Street is going to be getting interest rate cuts, right? Because inflation is still rising, right? I'm going to have a look at that for you real quick. I'm going to play this.
To lead the global economic growth together, the promotion of investment in both directions is important. I explained how Japanese businesses are making a significant contribution to the U.S. economy by their investment and the creation of jobs, to which President Biden agreed. In order to maintain and strengthen the competitive edge in the area of advanced technologies and to respond appropriately to issues such as economic coercion, non-market policies and practices, and excess capacities, and to overcome the vulnerability of the supply chains and to lead a sustainable and inclusive economic growth, we affirmed that the collaboration of Japan and the United States is indispensable. In addition, we concurred to advance our cooperation in the areas such as decarbonization, AI, and startups. There was a
I wouldn't say it's in free fall, but
also
yeah,
in the area of
the Dow's
space.
down about
In
1.5% right
the half
now.
of the
And
1960s,
it's because
when
of
I was in
inflation
the
data
United
that just
States,
came out,
it was the
which we are going over
dawn
here
of
after this.
space development in the United States. I am one of all those who was so excited in the US by the spectacular challenge in space. The implementing arrangement has been signed on this occasion, and the provision of the lunar rover by Japan and the
They
allocation
couldn't
of
find a male translator.
2 astronaut flight opportunities to the lunar service to Japan were confirmed.
I love
Under
how
the
Japanese
Artemis
men
program,
speak, actually.
I welcome the
But of course, I love more how the Japanese girls speak. It's all cutesy. But yeah, it's fucking awesome.
lunar landing by a Japanese astronaut as the first non-US astronaut. We also discussed the efforts towards a world without nuclear
Japanese
weapons.
people have special hair combs? I don't know.
We
They
affirmed
generally
the
speaking, have
realistic
very
and practical
straight hair.
endeavors on nuclear disarmament, including the issuance of the G7 leaders' Hiroshima vision last year, and I welcomed the participation of the United States in the FMCT Friends, which was launched by my
Charlotte.
initiative. Lastly,
cracking me
in
up.
order to further strengthen the people-to-people
She
bond,
said,
which is the
"Can anyone explain
cornerstone
why
of
all
our
government sucks?
unwavering
Sucks so bad?
Japan-US
Also,
relationship, we
what is the
affirm to
meaning of
further
life?"
promote people-to-people exchanges. As the outcome of our meeting today, we will issue
And while you're at it, why is there so much evil in the world?
the joint statement titled The Global Partners for the Future.
Why do
This
good men
is
do bad things?
the expression of the determination of Japan and the United States to maintain and strengthen a free and open international order based on the rule of law that underpins the peace, stability, and prosperity of the international community and states the guiding principles. With our partnership, we will defend the future of Japan and the United States, the Indo-Pacific, and the world, and make that future all the more prosperous.
Thank you. Now we'll
Those are
take a few
questions that
questions.
can't
Jordan
be answered,
Fabian of Bloomberg.
unfortunately.
Thank you, Mr.
See, pre-approved questions, right? Let's just rewind it real quick.
Thank you. Now we'll take a few questions. Jordan Fabian of Bloomberg.
See? It's all on display for you guys. Right? Again, their sound is shit. I know, guys. I can't do anything about that except for complain and say, maybe you shouldn't be focused so much on gender, ethnicity, and or sexual orientation, and more concerned about their ability to turn the dials on the audio mixer. Just saying. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last month, you predicted the Federal Reserve would cut interest rates thanks to falling inflation. But today, data showed that inflation rose more than expected for the third straight month. So how concerned are you about the fight against inflation stalling? And do you stand by your prediction for a rate cut?
Well, I do stand by my prediction that before the year is out, to be a rate cut. This may delay it a month or so. I'm not sure of that. We don't know.
The president should not be trying to influence the Federal Reserve Bank, right? Politics should not influence the decisions of the economy masters, right?
Know what the Fed is going to do for certain. But look, we have dramatically reduced inflation from 9% down.
We've dramatically reduced inflation. He wants to start at 9%, but when in reality, the day he took office, inflation was like 1.4%. So he dramatically reduced inflation from 1.4% to 3.5%, an increase of 2.1. But he wants to call it a reduction, right? Because his bad policies got the inflation so high that now he can say it's down. But it's actually up from where it was when he started.
So close to 3%. We're in a situation where
close to 3%. First of all, the Fed target is 2%, right? If inflation is above 2%, they're supposed to increase interest rates, right? They're trying, this 3% bullshit that they're talking about is effectively saving suicide, right? It's effectively that your investments are guaranteed to decline over time, not increase in value.
where we're better situated than we were when we took office, where inflation was skyrocketing.
No, Mr. President. When you took office, inflation was at one of its lowest points over the previous decade, for sure, maybe going back 20 years, right? Right. When you took office, inflation was at the lowest point in the last couple decades, for sure.
And we have a plan to deal with it, whereas my opposition talks about two things. They just want to cut taxes for the wealthy.
And make America
and,
geriatric
raise
again.
taxes on other people. And so I think they have no plan. Our plan is one I think is still sustainable.
They have no plan. What's your plan? Your plan is to increase spending and lower interest rates, and that's how you're going to fight inflation? You fucking moron. That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works. You have no idea what you're talking about. And no, inflation is not down. There wasn't skyrocketing inflation when you took office. You created the skyrocketing inflation by cutting oil pipelines and oil production, leading to increased energy costs, which help drive the inflation, along with your reckless spending, of course, help to drive inflation to the highest it's been since I was 5 years old.
Mr. Prime Minister, you've said that the Nippon Steel acquisition of U.S. Steel is a private matter.
Well, really in my lifetime, but I think
discussed
that
the matter today.
It was
with
pretty
President
high
Biden,
in the early
and do you
80s.
believe
I'm not
that
sure what it
politics
was.
are influencing President Biden's
I don't
decision
remember.
to
I
oppose
was
the
3.
deal? And I wouldn't mind, Mr. President, if you answer that one too.
Hi.
On the issue that you have raised, we understand that discussions are underway between the parties. We hope these discussions will unfold in directions that would be positive for both sides. Japan believes that appropriate procedures based
Guys,
on
we have a
law
lot of news after
is
this,
being
too.
implemented by the U.S. government. Japan is the largest investor to the United States. Japanese businesses employ close to 1 million workers in the United States.
That's awesome.
And
we get awesome cars out of it, too, guys. Japanese really make efficient, well-made, reliable vehicles, right? They deserve the success that they've had in that area.
Can only increase upwards in the months and years
what's
to
up,
come.
Champagne?
And we wish to cement this win-win
The
relationship.
King of Michaels.
Thank you.
I stand by my commitment to American workers. I'm a man of my word. I'm going to keep it. And with regard to that, I stand by our commitment to our alliance. This is
Joe Biden, a man of his word. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. He's a man of his word, guys. Right? Remember when he was against gay marriage? He said he would never support gay marriage? Remember that, guys? Remember when he said his commitment to Israel was unwavering, and now he demands that Israel stop their war? Right? Oh my God. It just hurts my brain listening to this man lie over and over again.
This is exactly what we're doing, a strong alliance as well.
He's a man of his word, guys. That's why they call him Lion Joe.
Prime Minister's microphone, please. Nakakuki of Kyodo News. My question is to both Prime Minister Kishida and President Biden. At the summit, you confirmed your strong objections against unilateral attempts to change status quo by force or coercion by China and agreed on reinforcing response capabilities.
It was an awesome time,
Under current
Uzi.
circumstances, should Japan and the United States bolster defense capabilities, China may become more preoccupied in military expansion and intensify its coercive behavior.
In 1997, I was hitchhiking around the
divide
country.
and expand. Avoid the divide, how should Japan and U.S. respond? Let me then take that question first. At this summit, we confirmed that the United States and Japan will resolutely defend and bolster a free and open international order based on the rule of law, and that Japan and the United States as global partners shall work together for that purpose. On challenges concerning China, including the point you raised on objecting to unilateral attempts to change status quo by force or coercion.
You guys remember Hands Across America?
Japan and the United States as global partners shall work in close coordination.
What was that even for? AIDS or something? I don't
And
even
also,
remember why
as
we did
I
that.
said previously, we will continue
I was too
our
little to
dialogue
remember
with
why
China,
I was out there holding people's
and
hands.
we will cooperate with China in tackling common challenges. And the President and I confirmed the importance of such dialogue as well. Based on the solid trust with
No, I have not.
our
Girl Gone Dog.
ally, the United States, we will continue to call on China
hitchhiking's illegal
to
in Finland? That
fulfill
sucks.
its responsibilities as a major power.
I was 16 and 17 in 1997.
Japan's policy, which I have consistently embraced, is to comprehensively promote the mutual strategic relationship we have with China and establish a constructive and stable Japan-China relationship through efforts by both sides.
I don't know if it was Hands Around the World. I know it was Hands Across America.
Consistent position.
Because we all sang the song, Hands Across America.
That I have upheld. We will continue to seek close communication with China at all levels. That's it for me.
First of all, we keep improving our lines of communications with one another. That's the United States and China. I've recently spoken at length with President Xi, and we've agreed that we would, number one, have personal contact with one another whenever we wanted to discuss anything, so there'd be nothing slips, as they say, between the cup and the lip, so we know.
What the fuck is this guy talking about? Let's go back. I'm having trouble following him.
Contact with one another whenever we wanted to discuss anything, so there'd be nothing slips, as they say, between the cup and the lip, so we know exactly what the other team is thinking, number one. And so we had a long discussion almost 2 weeks ago now. And the best way to reduce the chances of miscalculation and misunderstanding. That's number one. Number two, in our alliance we have with Japan, it's really defensive in nature. It's a defensive alliance. And the things we discussed today improve our cooperation and are purely about defense and readiness.
I don't know what
it's
he's
not
talking
aimed
about.
at any one nation or a threat to the region, and it doesn't have anything to do with conflict. And so this is about restoring stability in the region, and I think we have a chance of doing that. Okay. Next question. Who do I call on next? Hang on a second. I got my list here. Hang on. I apologize. Aurelia of AFP.
Thank you. My first question would go to both of you, Mr. President and Mr.
It's embarrassing, okay, that our president is so fucking decrepit that he can only answer pre-approved questions from pre-approved journalists and then read the answers quite ineptly, I have to say. Like, he's not even capable of competently reading the answers that he has right in front of him, right, to questions that he knew he was going to be asked.
Mr. Prime Minister, is there a path for Japan to become a full member?
It's fucking embarrassing.
And I would have a second question for you, Mr.
It's
President.
shameful.
You're now saying that
This president is shameful.
Benjamin Netanyahu is making a mistake in Gaza. What are you willing to do to make him change his strategy? And would you consider conditioning military aid to Israel? Thank you.
You should pick lasagna. Blind dude.
Thank you. Your question about AUKUS, I will respond. Our country, we want to contribute to the peace and stability of the region, and therefore we have consistently supported AUKUS.
I vote for lasagna.
Said that the participants.
Okay, if you guys think blind dude should have lasagna for dinner, type +1. If you think blind dude should have enchiladas for dinner, type +2.
Of AUKUS, US, UK, Australia, with such countries by bilateral relationship or on multilateral occasions, we have established various relationships. But for Japan to have a direct cooperation with AUKUS,
I'm with Michael. Lasagna
at this moment. Going forward with US, UK, or with Australia, with such countries in bilateral or multilateral frameworks, we will continue our cooperation. So that will continue to be considered.
Looks like you're getting enchiladas.
About the relationship between Japan and AUKUS, that's it.
With regard to my discussions with Bibi Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu, as well as our relationship with Israel, I have been very blunt and straightforward with the Prime Minister as well as his work cabinet as well as the cabinet.
Blind dude chooses
The fact of the
lasagna.
matter is that
Good man.
Bibi and I had a long discussion. He agreed
He
to
bets
do
he gets
several
both.
things.
Oh, what a good wifey. That's a good wifey if she makes you both. Oh.
Related to number one, getting more aid, both food and medicine into Gaza, and reducing significantly the attempts, the civilian casualties in any action taken in the region. And thus far, and it's tied to the hostages, there are a number of...
The hostages are dead. Right? This fucking clown let Americans be butchered and raped by Islamic jihadis to death. To death.
Hostages that are being held by the Hamas. And just yesterday, we're meeting with the Vice President, our National Security Advisor before that. And they're American hostages as well. And they know how committed we are, the whole team, to getting their loved ones home. We're not going to stop until we...
The time to get those hostages home was like 6 months ago, buddy. You killed them. You let them die. You let them get raped and butchered to death.
We do. The new proposal on the table, Bill Burns led the effort for us. We're grateful for his work. There's a now up to Hamas. They need to move on the proposal that's been made.
No, he's not even hiding it, right? No, he's not even. It's an embarrassment to the whole entire country. It's shameful what he's doing right now, right? And it's fucking embarrassing that our president is so fucking feckless and incompetent that he can only take pre-approved questions that he has pre-scripted answers for. It's fucking disgusting.
As I said, we'll get these hostages home where they belong, but also bring back a 6-week ceasefire that we need now. And the fact is that they're getting in somewhere in the last 3 days over 100 trucks. It's not enough, but it needs to be more, and there's one more opening that has to take place in the north. So we'll see what he does in terms of meeting the commitments he made to me.
This will be the last reporter.
Would they say this is the last question? It is.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow. I can't get over this. I can't get over it. Could you imagine Donald Trump doing this? Imagine what they would say imagine what the fucking cows on The View would say about Donald Trump if he behaved this way. Right? Oh, dictator fucking orange man only takes pre-approved questions from fucking state-controlled media like Fox News.
Miso of NHK. I ask the question to both of you. As Prime Minister Kishida mentioned, the abduction issue of North Korea, I believe, was discussed. Prime Minister, you have expressed your wish to have a direct engagement with Kim Jong-un, but they say that abduction is already resolved, which means that they are refusing. During the meeting, what did you tell President Biden about the outlook of a summit, and what engagement did you ask President Biden? President Biden, my question, what did you hear from Prime Minister Kishida, and what is your observation and feeling, your president, and with the nuclear missile issues, what is your position? Do you support early summit between Japan and North Korea? Thank you. First of all, if I may start regarding my summit meeting.
Okay, this is almost over. We got
Biden
plenty of news after this, guys.
about North Korea, including
I've got
the missile and nuclear issues we have discussed, and regarding the increasingly worrying situation, we have agreed to continue a close coordination. And on top of that, we concurred that the window of a discussion with North Korea is open, and we discussed that Japan, US, and ROK will continue to work closely together.
It's hard to understand this translator woman. And I listen to a lot of Japanese women speak.
I also
kind of one of the things I like. Like, I like to watch those videos, like a guy walking around Tokyo and asking Japanese girls what they think about Western guys.
Asked for the continued understanding and cooperation for the immediate resolution of
walking
the
around
abduction
Tokyo
issue.
in general.
And President Biden once again gave myself a very strong assurance regarding the recent announcement by North Korea. I will refrain from commenting on each and every announcement by North Korea, but as I have been mentioning repeatedly, based on the perspective that the establishment of a meaningful relation between Japan and North Korea is in the interest of both Japan and North Korea, and that it would be hugely beneficial to the peace and stability of the region, my policy is to aim for a summit meeting with North Korea to resolve various issues and will advance high-level consultation directly.
Doesn't North Korea touch Russia? Now that I think about it, like, I know it touches China on one of its borders. I feel like it touches Russia on another one of its borders.
Instruction, and that remains unchanged. That is my response.
Oh, thank you, Michael.
We did discuss this issue. We both agree that DPRK must also address the serious human rights and humanitarian concerns of the international community, including the immediate resolution of the abduction issue. But you know, the Prime Minister has just spoken to the potential, what his plans may mean. But I welcome the opportunity, we welcome the opportunity of our allies to initiate dialogue with the Democratic Republic of Korea. So I've said many times, we're open to dialogue ourselves at any time, without preconditions with the DPRK. So I have faith in Japan. I have faith in the Prime Minister, and I think seeking a dialogue with them is a good thing.
I have more faith in the Prime Minister of Japan than I do in this president. I'll tell you that. Japanese don't fuck around, dude. When I watch those videos of people walking through Tokyo, the first thing I notice is how clean, right, everything is, and how polite and quiet everyone is.
Positive thing. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, wow. He had an earpiece in. Look at him take out his earpiece. Look. There's his earpiece. He's taking out his earpiece.
Why didn't everybody holler at once? Elect me. I'm in the 20th century, 21st century, not back then. They weren't even a state. I find. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. This concludes the press conference.
Sir, how does the war in Ukraine comes to an end by the House leader allowing a vote. There's overwhelming support for Ukraine among the majority of Democrats and Republicans. There should be a vote now.
Yeah, that's how my grift works. I can't funnel any money off of Ukraine unless you guys give me more money to funnel. That's how the grift works, guys. I mean, what do you expect? Come on, man. All right, guys, we are back. Sorry about that. I'm not doxing you. That's turning guns doxing you. All right, guys, we got a lot of news to go over. Not a lot, but a good amount. And since we were just talking about this, we might as well just drop it in right now. Where's my shit at? Okay, hold on. No, we're going to put this over here. Okay. All right, this is how we're going to do this. All right. So. And my thing is not wide enough. Hold on. There we go. Hold on. There we go. All right. Yeah, I like enchiladas and lasagna too, guys. All right. But we got bigger things to worry about than our stomachs, our pockets. Now, and I guess that is also our stomachs, because if we can't afford food, we can't eat. All right. Inflation surged higher in March, reversing some progress made in cooling prices. Prices aren't cool. Who is this by? ABC News, of course. No. Just because inflation isn't increasing as fast as it was doesn't mean prices are cooling. They are still going up, right? But it doesn't matter. Inflation is increasing faster than it was. So none of this matters. Everything that they say is a lie, right? We now live in the age of bullshit, right? Where bullshit is more powerful than facts, more powerful than reason, more powerful than emotion, right? Bullshit is the letter of the day, guys. All right, now, so we're going to try to wade through this. No, I don't want to try Microsoft Copilot. Thank you, but no thank you. All right. Who's this ugly bitch? Bitch is ugly. All right. Consumer prices rose 3.5% in March compared to a year ago. Accelerating markedly from the previous month and reversing some of the progress achieved in a 2-year fight to cool inflation. Wow. It's funny how it's a 2-year fight to cool down inflation, and we're well into the 3rd year of Joe Biden's presidency. It's like they forget what happened that first year and a half when inflation skyrocketed under Joe Biden. Price increases have cooled dramatically from a peak of about 9%, but inflation still stands more than a percentage point higher than the Federal Reserve's target rate of 2%. A spike in housing and gasoline prices at the outset of this year has helped prolong the nation's bout of elevated inflation. Meanwhile, economic performance has been robust, boosting consumer demand and putting upward pressure on prices. The latest finding indicated an uptick from the 3.2 annual inflation rate recorded in February. Core inflation, a closely watched measure that strips out volatile food and energy prices, which are, food and energy prices, which are the most important to people like you and me, right? But, core inflation, a closely watched measure that strips out volatile food and energy prices, increased 3.8% over the year, ending in March, holding steady from the previous month, the data showed. More than half of the monthly increases in consumer prices owed to an uptick in gasoline and housing costs. Yeah, and food too. Food is continuing to go up, guys, right? Just last month, my wheat bread that I get, not the fancy wheat bread, just the regular wheat sandwich bread, not even the whole wheat bread, went up 10 cents, right? Beef prices, however, okay, here we go. Okay, prices dropped 4% for breakfast sausage and ham over the past year. Apple prices fell more than 10%, right? But beef prices have increased at more than double the pace of overall inflation over the past year. And that's something that I've noticed myself. A pound of hamburger The cheap pound of hamburger, right? The one that comes in the tube, right? Is like $5, right? At Walmart. Now, interest rate cuts. See, look, they're trying to push interest rate cuts during a spike in inflation, right? Listen to what they say. I don't know what they're going to say. Let's find out. Interest rate cuts would lower borrowing costs for consumers and businesses, potentially triggering a burst of economic activity through greater household spending and company investment. No, that's not what's going to happen. Lowering interest rates increases borrowing, leading to more debt and elevated prices because it puts more money into the economy to compete for the finite numbers of goods and services, right? You can print infinite money, right? But you can't print infinite tacos, right? There's a limit to how many tacos you can make, but there's no limit to how many dollars you can make, right? And that is what causes inflation to go up. They say the Fed risks a rebound of inflation if it cuts interest rates too quickly. Yeah, you don't cut interest rates when inflation is above the target. You raise them. If anybody tells you anything different, they're a lying, stinking, fucking socialist. Right? And we all see what happens when socialism takes over. Fucking the price, the wage price spiral, right? That's what we'll see, is wages going up to compete with prices, which makes prices go up to compete with wages, which makes wages go up, right? And then we get to a point where you need a raise every single day in order to be able to afford basic necessities, right? Now, caused Dow Jones to sell off amid fears that there will be no rate cuts, okay? The Dow Jones Industrial Average tumbled Wednesday after inflation data came in hotter than expected. Yeah, it was a huge jump, guys. With major indexes trading near session lows amid spiking yields, artificial intelligence leader NVIDIA moved higher despite a correction, but fellow Magnificent Seven names Tesla, Apple, and Microsoft struggled on the stock markets today, and a Warren Buffett stock flashed sell signal. Meanwhile, a couple of stocks were digging in near entries amid the negative action. Some bank, ICC, I don't know what that is, and Axon Enterprises were trying to hold up, but there were also a number of breakdowns. The NASDAQ dropped more than 1% on the stock market today. What about the S&P? The S&P also fell more than 1%. What about Bitcoin? Hold on. Let's see. Bitcoin, it's not quite as bad as the stock market, but it is losing a little bit of ground today as well. Yeah. Dog took a major hit. 19 cents, damn. Hey, what's up, Ash? Now, yeah, so we had inflation come in hot, right? Which caused a sell-off on the stock market, guys, okay? Now, getting away from that news and getting into the kind of stuff we care about, okay? 3 sons of Hamas leader Haniyeh killed in an Israeli airstrike. 3 sons of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh were killed in an Israeli airstrike in Gaza on Wednesday. The Palestinian Islamist jihadists said the 3 sons, Jihad, Burqa, and Intifada, were killed after the car they were driving in was bombed in Gaza's al-Shidi camp, Hamas said. 2 of Hyman's grandchildren were also killed in the attack, and a 3rd was wounded, Hamas media said. Oh, did they murder your whole family? Oh, don't worry. They'll be there to cut your dick off and take your wife soon, buddy. Okay. Our demands are clear and specific, and we will not make concessions on them. The enemy will be delusional if it thinks that targeting my sons at the climax of the negotiations and before the movement sends its response will push Hamas to change its position. Jihad Hyman told Al Jazeera TV, "The blood of my sons is not dearer than the blood of our people," said fucking Horseface, who is based abroad in the Gulf Arab state of Qatar. Yeah. So big win for the Israelis today. They took out the family of a jihadi terrorist. And yeah, it's good all around for everyone. Oh, that sucks, Ash. I hope your plants do better. They got yeeted by the rain. They got violently thrown out of the ground. Awesome. Yeah, now speaking of senseless death and violence over land. Oh, what the fuck is this? Okay, no, my bad. Oh, wait, no, hold on. Nope. Here we go. All right, this is the story I want here. Russia smashes past grim war milestone in Ukraine. Russian casualties in Ukraine have surpassed 450,000 since February of 2022, according to figures published by Ukraine's military on Wednesday. Moscow's forces lost 830 troops in one day, by Kiev's count, bringing the total number of reported casualties in the more than 2 years of full-scale war to 450,080. This tally of reported Russian casualties is roughly the same as how many soldiers Ukraine has said are deployed in total in Russian-controlled Ukraine. Casualty counts are murky in war, and neither Moscow nor Kiev is keen to offer up estimates on its own losses. Newsweek has reached out to the Russian Defense Ministry for comment via email. Western estimates of Russian losses come in lower than Ukraine's count. The UK government said on March 3 that from February 2022 to early March 2024, total Russian casualties killed and wounded stood at 355,000. Nonetheless, the figures from the Ukrainian military give some indication of the toll the many grinding months of war is having on Russia's armed forces ahead of an anticipated fresh Russian offensive in the coming weeks. Yeah. So, what this article, I've actually read the whole article, okay? Because I wanted to know. What this article goes on to say is that they estimate Ukraine has lost roughly the same amount of soldiers killed or wounded. This doesn't count civilians, right? So that puts us close to a million soldiers dead or wounded, and an untold number of civilians, definitely in the hundreds of thousands, possibly over a million. We don't know, right? We will never know, right? Because a lot of those civilians, maybe not the majority, but many of the civilians killed in this war were executed by Zelensky's hit squads for being quote-unquote spies, right? And when he says spies, what he means is anyone that disagrees with me is a spy, is a Russian agitator, right? Yeah. Okay. Here's a picture. I don't know what this infographic is, but let's take a look at it. Oh, it's going to Facebook. Okay, never mind. All right, now, on to the next story. Russia accuses Ukrainian gas company linked to Biden's son of financing terror. Russia's top investigative body said it had opened a probe into a Ukrainian company that formerly had ties to the son of U.S. President Joe Biden in what likely is an effort to spread disinformation in the midst of the heated U.S. presidential election campaign. Yeah, disinformation, guys. Usi says, but last year ago they said that the losses were 450,000. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Jokerfish? Now, Burisma Holdings is a Ukrainian oil and gas company whose board of directors included Hunter Biden. The company has been at the center of unproven allegations, guys, for years by Republican lawmakers in the United States and others who have claimed that the then Vice President Joe Biden pressured Ukrainian officials to fire Ukraine's prosecutor general as a way to protect Burisma's principal owner. I don't understand how it's disinformation or a conspiracy theory when literally that's what happened. They literally, and I mean literally, have Joe Biden on video bragging about how he used U.S. aid money to pressure the Ukrainians to fire the prosecutor that was investigating his son's company, right? I don't understand how that is a conspiracy theory that's unproven, right? But I digress. God, this is just a hit piece. The allegation that senior officials of the United States and NATO countries were involved in financing terrorism inside Russia echoes a string of eyebrow-raising claims from Russian officials in the aftermath of the terror attack at Crocus City Hall last month. A branch of the Islamic State extremist group has claimed responsibility, but Russian officials have repeatedly asserted, without evidence, well, any evidence that we will count as credible is what they mean. Just like Donald Trump had no evidence of election interference, and there was no evidence, and all the evidence suggests that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation, and Adam Schiff has real and credible evidence that Donald Trump colluded with Russia in the 2016 elections. These motherfuckers get every single thing wrong. So if they're saying that this is a conspiracy theory and that there's no evidence, we have to believe that there's lots of evidence and that this is what happened, right? All right, turning guns. Yeah, because what there's no evidence of right, is ISIS-K. Now, speaking of ISIS-K, Pakistan grapples with deadly attacks on Chinese interests. In the 10 days between March 16th and March 26th, Pakistan witnessed 5 different attacks. 3 in its northwestern Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province and 2 in its southwestern Balochistan province, resulting in the deaths of at least 18 people. All 5 attacks were all suicide bombings in which at least 12 military personnel, 5 Chinese nationals, and 1 Pakistani citizen died. While the country has experienced a dramatic surge in violence during the last year, the latest series of attacks, their targets, and the audacity with which they were carried out could signal a new chapter in Pakistan's fight against armed groups. Yeah, the same armed groups that the Pakistanis trained 5 years ago. Yes. I want to see Blind's enchilada video. Now, okay. So, a Chinese convoy was attacked inside of Pakistan, and you'll never guess who did it. You'll never guess. Oh, God damn it, Space. Yeah, it was ISIS-K. It was ISIS-K. The same ISIS-K that just days before that attacked Moscow, and a month before that attacked Tehran, right? Right? So ISIS-K attacks Tehran, then Moscow, then China. Are we lucky or what? It's amazing that these completely unknown to us, unfunded by us, and a completely new thing that we've never heard of before, ISIS-K, seems to have our best interest in their heart. God, what a great group of little jihadi terrorists fighting for us across the world. God, that's wonderful. God bless them. God bless ISIS-K. Oh, is this the enchilada video? It is. Oh, okay, we'll watch this at the end. All right, we will watch this at the end. Okay. Okay, yeah. God bless those ISIS-K jihadi terrorists who are doing our bidding, completely unfunded, uninstructed, or unguided by us, mind you. Their interests just so happen to align with our interests. It's amazing, guys. Now, speaking of China, Rand Paul claims he has a smoking gun that ties Fauci's NIH to research with desire to create COVID-type virus. Wow. Now, we've already reported on these facts, but let's hear what the senator has to say. Okay, let's hear it all directly from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
This is keeping up with its COVID origins investigation, and our next guest says he has discovered that government officials from more than a dozen agencies knew that the Wuhan Institute of Virology was trying to create a virus similar to COVID-19.
Actually, they got their instructions and criteria directly from Anthony Fauci. Yes. Leaked documents
back in 2018
have proven.
Let's bring in Republican Kentucky Senator
Right?
Rand Paul. So you've got an op-ed on FoxNews.com in which you write in part, Senator, how vast was the great COVID cover-up? Well, my investigation has recently discovered government officials from 15 federal agencies knew in 2018 that the Wuhan Institute of Virology was trying to create a coronavirus like COVID-19.
And then, just 1 year later, Dr. Fauci made the ominous prediction that Donald Trump would face a pandemic before the end of his term. He promised that Donald Trump would face a worldwide pandemic. How did he know? Well, because a year before he made that prediction, he funded the fucking disease that would be the pandemic. It's amazing. It's amazing how this happens. Isn't it? Isn't it?
You claim in your op-ed that they all knew and nobody said anything.
Yeah, we found out about this first from a brave Marine who reported that this research was grant proposal back in 2018 would have allowed Wuhan Institute to create a virus very similar to what COVID-19 turned out to be. But we only found out about this from a whistleblower.
Exactly what
Nobody
COVID-19
else in government ever informed us, including...
Not only that, the receptors that the virus uses to penetrate your body's defenses, the ACE2 receptor, is the exact receptor that mice are bioengineered what's the word? To produce, right? So humanized mice are bioengineered to produce human ACE2 receptors so that when we test things in labs, right, we can see how they would affect human beings. Well, the COVID virus, just turns out, mysteriously, latches on to that very same receptor that mice are engineered to present with. Amazing. Amazing.
Anthony Fauci. When Anthony Fauci was asked about this particular grant proposal, he said not only did he not fund it, he said, we don't know anything about it. We have never heard of it. What we have discovered now, and we're releasing for the first time today,
his signature's
15
on it.
agencies knew about this, and the original proposal, NIH and Anthony Fauci's NIAID were on the proposal. They weren't just aware.
He signs off on it,
the
guys.
proposal. They were
He's a liar.
involved in
He's
the
a liar
proposal,
and a criminal
and that was to create a virus that looks a lot
he
like
deserves to
COVID-19
be
and may well have
executed
been COVID-19.
for what he's
But
done,
nobody
for all the
revealed this,
murders
and
he
Anthony
caused.
Fauci continues
Death
to say,
penalty.
hey, I knew nothing about this. This was his own agency. We now have proof that the NIH and the NIAID, Fauci's agency, knew about this proposal and were part of the proposal, despite him continuing in public to say he knew nothing of this proposal. This basically is the smoking gun that ties Anthony Fauci and NIH to the funding of research that may well have led to COVID-19.
A name that comes up in all of this is that of Peter Daszak, the head of the EcoHealth Alliance. He is going to be testifying before Brad Wenstrup's committee in the House on May the 1st.
Yeah, and you guys got to remember, Fauci rose to prominence and he led the country's efforts to develop an AIDS vaccine, okay? Right? Just like he led the country's efforts to develop a COVID vaccine. Knowing what I know now, I have to assume that Fauci bioengineered AIDS. That's the reason they put him in charge of it, right? Knowing what I've learned over my life, that the guy that fucks it up is the guy they send out to cover it up, right? Because he has the most to lose by people finding out the truth, right? Yeah. Fauci did AIDS too, guys. Allegedly.
Enstrip says he wants to ask
I am the one
about
alleging
a discrepancy that came up when he gave behind closed doors testimony, and that was about a project called Diffuse, which
same thing we're talking about.
Right,
same thing.
I know it was to create a furin cleavage site in a virus. According to Wenstrup, the proposal said that the research was going to be done at the University of North Carolina, but that in fact it was actually targeted to the Wuhan Institute.
Hey,
what do you know about that
SpaysE.
part of it?
Yeah, it's the exact same proposal.
You
it's
spicy little peach, you.
and it's a project that was never funded by the U.S. government, but we know that Wuhan Institute continued to do this research.
I bet you're a juicy
and we know
little
that a lot of
peach,
people
too.
knew this was going on, including Anthony Fauci, and never revealed it to the public.
I'm sorry.
In fact, it's sort of
couldn't
the
help it.
opposite. So if you have this knowledge, you know they're trying to develop this in the lab, you would be suspicious that the virus came from the lab. Instead, Anthony Fauci, for the first several months and really for years, has tried to call anybody who believes that it came from the lab or looks at evidence that the virus came from this lab, calls them conspiracy theorists, downplays them, denigrates them. He promoted journal articles to downplay and say it wasn't possible, when all the while it looks like he knew it, Peter Daszak knew it, Ralph Barrick at UNC knew it. He knew about it. He was part of the project. And yet he comes to the White House and says nothing about it. This would have warned us that this virus wasn't attempting to make a clumsy leap from animals to human, but was already pre-adapted and was going to be incredibly infectious to humans. That happens not typically with an animal virus. It happens with mutations that are forced.
Older women have a lot to offer, Peach. Don't sell yourself short, Mama.
In a lab.
And as you point out, Senator, every time Anthony Fauci has come before Congress, whether it be the House or the Senate, his line has always been the same, and it sounds like this.
I will repeat again, the NIH and NIAID categorically has not funded gain-of-function research to be conducted in the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
Yeah, because the day that he came out to make this statement is the same day that he changed the definition of what gain of function is. Right? You see how that works? Ha. Hey, Peach, remember, hey, some men enjoy the company of mature women, right? Right? It's not all about looks, Mommy. It's about a class, right, and sophistication.
Yet you say, and that was you questioning him there, as you have so many times, you say it's impossible that he didn't know about this?
Yeah, without question, they did fund gain-of-function research in Wuhan, so that's a lie. But also, we now know, and what we're revealing today is that he knew about the specific project to put a furin cleavage site with Peter Daszak, Ralph Barrick, and the Wuhan Institute to create a virus that was more infectious to humans. He knew about it because not only was his team being briefed about it, we now have documented evidence they were briefed. We also have documented evidence that they were partners in this. The actual original proposal with Wuhan involved the NIH and the Rocky Mountain Lab that is owned by NIAID. So Fauci was intimately and an integral part of all of this, and yet he continues to get away with saying, I knew nothing. But we now have the documented evidence that his team was briefed and that they were actually an intimate part of the proposal to create a virus that looks like COVID-19.
You know, as you pointed out a moment ago, Senator, that anybody who talked about a lab leak theory in the early going of COVID was dismissed as a tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracy theorist. But now...
But Peter Navarro refuses to testify in a sham trial and is sitting in prison right now. Right now. Peter Navarro, a cabinet member of the Trump team, right? In prison right now for refusing to answer questions in a sham trial, right?
Now we have an editor at NPR. He's been there for 25 years. His name is Yuri Berliner. Wrote a very long op-ed in the Free Press about all of the times when politics has interceded in the reporting of actual journalistic items. And this is what he said about coverage of the lab leak theory. He said, over the course of the pandemic, a number of investigative journalists made compelling, if not conclusive, cases for the lab leak. But at NPR, we weren't about to swivel or even tiptoe away from the insistence with which we backed the natural origin story. Politics were blotting out the curiosity and independence that ought to have been driving our work. What do you say when you hear that?
So disappointing. You know, the
Yeah,
media is
it is
supposed to be
disappointing.
equal opportunities of going after both parties, all ideas, all issues, looking for the truth. Look at the reporters that have uncovered this. Most of them, they'll tell you they came from the left. Matt Taibbi, Michael Schellenberger. They'll say they're either moderate or Democrat or even from the left, and they had the honesty to do it. So there were some honest journalists that have gone after this story, but the institutional forces, and this is the real danger of letting the FBI and Homeland Security, letting them work together to persuade, cajole, and coerce media to do their bidding. The media needs to be independent of government. And I don't care whether it's right, left, or in between, what the direction is. You have to have an independent media that is critical. And during COVID, what we found is you had the media and the powers that be working collectively with the government and the FBI sitting down. Can you imagine if after our interview right now, the FBI called you up and wanted to sit down with you and said, well, part of the interview is good, but we want to remove this one question because we think that's disinformation. Nobody in broadcast TV would tolerate that, but that's what they were doing. They were sitting these people down and saying, we don't like that question, we don't like the way they answered it, and we want it struck from the record, struck from the public record. It's mortifying to think of this kind of government power over the free press.
Well, I do know that here at Fox, if the FBI ever called us and said that, we'd be doing a story about the FBI calling us and asking us to do that.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's been a while. Good to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there you go. There's your story, guys. There's what they won't tell you. We've already actually reported on this. We have hard scientific data that proves all of what Rand Paul is saying is true, right? Well, maybe not some of the conclusions he reaches, but definitely the facts that he laid out. There is scientific evidence, not only qualitative, but also qualitative and quantitative evidence. We have both, right? Right? Now, speaking of disgraces and national scams, flabby titties, right? The Department of Justice discovered alleged inconsistencies in Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis's use of some federal grant money, according to a new report. Willis has risen to national prominence for leading the Georgia election interference investigation. We already know about that. Let's just watch this. We can't. They're not talking. Trump pleaded blah, 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 blah. During our review of the award to respond to this inquiry, we have noticed some inconsistencies in what Fulton County has reported to the federal sub-award reporting system. Oh, what do you know? What do you know? You mean Democrats steal? No way. And we are working with them to update their reporting accordingly, a Justice Department spokeswoman told the conservative publication. Specific details about what inconsistencies were found, what the specific grant was intended for, or what the funds may have been used for remain unconfirmed. Newsweek reached out to Phyllis's office and the GOJ for comment via email. Willis has previously sparred with Republican Representative Jim Jordan, who chairs the House Judiciary Committee, over her office's use of grant funds. In February, Jordan and the House Judiciary Committee issued a subpoena to Willis's office requesting documents relating to her office's receipt and use of federal funds, threatening to hold her in contempt of Congress if she did not provide further documents by March 28th. In her own letter, Willis responded that her office had already provided you with substantial information about our programs that are funded via federal grants. Further, as I expressed to you in my letter dated February 23, this office is in the process of producing relevant documents to you on a rolling basis and is undertaking a good faith approach to provide you with responsive information about our federal grant funding. Her office also wrote that Jordan's request of extensive document demands is unreasonable and uncustomary and would require this government's office to divert resources from our primary purpose of prosecuting crime. Best twerker in Fulton County office. Yeah. And also the poster child for angry black woman hired because of her diversity. Right? Now we go on to some funny stuff, guys. We only have 2 years left to save the planet, guys. We're all going to be dead in 2 years, okay? Mark your calendars, all right? Say your prayers, get your affairs in order. The evil white man's climate change is going to kill us all. Government, business leaders, and development banks have 2 years to take action to avert far worse climate change. Where's climate change, guys? Yeah, because if anybody can change the weather, it's the banks. Oh, man, I kind of dropped the ball here. Local governments have begun funding geoengineering research, specifically solar radiation modification, which is the new term for solar radiation management, by using stratospheric aerosol injections of a calcium salt compound in order to increase the Earth's libido or reflectivity, right? Thus ushering in, well, it's going to be bad. We will talk about that in the future. I don't have the reports right here in front of me, but it just reminded me about the new experiments that have started. Yes, chemtrails, Michael. But they're not chemtrails. We have a name for it. They are stratospheric aerial injections, SAI, right? And they are, what they do is they take sulfur, or in this case, sea salt, and they spray it into the clouds in order to make the clouds shinier, right? To ultraviolet, right? So that it reflects the ultraviolet back up into the sky, heating the upper atmosphere while reducing the amount of heat that reaches the ground level. Yes, they've been doing it now for 6 years, guys. They've been experimenting with this for 6 years. It started in 2017 at Harvard. Was the first actual experiment that they admitted to. But they've been adding sulfur to jet fuel for airline planes since the mid-'80s, which is the best way to reflect sunlight. 1 kilogram of sulfur offsets many tons of CO2. Okay? All right. Now, All right. All right, now, we still have a chance to make greenhouse gas emissions tumble with a new generation of national climate plans. But we need these stronger plans now, he said. They've been telling us this our whole lives, guys. Yet they can't predict whether it's going to rain tomorrow or not, but they can tell you what's going to happen in 2 years. All right, now, the main task for this year's UN climate negotiations is for countries to agree a new target for climate finance to support developing countries struggling to invest in shifting away from fossil fuels and fighting climate change. No. What this is about is reducing the global population. If you make energy 10% more expensive, millions of people die. Millions of people die, guys. Okay. Voters are going to the polls from India to South Africa and the United States. The UN guy warned too often climate action was slipping down cabinet agendas. Yeah, because it's a bunch of bullshit and everybody knows it. Right? Right? Hey, what's up, fandom? Yeah, I don't know about that. I know that sulfuric acid, right, or other sulfur species are what is the best option according to them, right? These sea salts that they've been using recently, they're experimenting with. They don't know the full scope of how well it's going to increase cloud libido rates. When I say cloud libido, what I mean is reflectivity of the clouds. Right? Yeah. So let's actually go ahead and try to look that up. Hold on. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, so this is real, guys. U.S. government plans 5-year geoengineering study. The U.S. Congress has mandated an inquiry into the techniques that could theoretically cool the Earth to avoid the worst effects of climate change. Okay? Such techniques include injecting aerosols high in the atmosphere or stratospheric aerosol injections like we just talked about. I'm very well versed on this subject, guys. I actually made videos about it. Here, let's see here. View my channel. Hold on. We gotta go to the Devil's Advocate. Hold on. Let me find it. Okay. Okay. All right, here is a link. If you guys want to, I've done extensive research into this. If you guys want to see it, here it is. It's a little bit technical. It's actually highly technical, and you have to. I provide all the links though, so you can Do your own research, okay? Exactly, Captain. In accordance with the requirements created by Congress, the Biden administration, of course, is moving forward with a 5-year study of geoengineering techniques and has issued a call for input. The study will include a scientific assessment of solar and other rapid climate interventions in the context of near-term climate risks and hazards. The report shall include 1. The definition of goals relevant, blah, 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 blah. The problem is, despite all the millions of words spoken and written about the existential threat of an overheating planet, very little has been done to actually reduce the average global temperatures. We don't want to reduce them, right? Right? We're heading into an ice age. These people are insane. They're sick in their fucking heads and they think they're God, right? They are not gods. And anything that they do, I promise you, will cause more problems than it solves. I promise you. There's no good outcome here. Once we start doing this, we can never stop. Do you understand? Once we start doing this, if climate change is as bad as they say it is, right? We have no proof of that other than failed models and fucking hyperbole, right? But let's just say they're right, okay? They're not, but let's just say they are. Once we start doing this, we can never stop. If we do, the whole planet goes haywire and everything dies. No crops will grow, right? Because there'll be too much of a change, too much of an abrupt change that they claim they're trying to avoid, right? But if we start doing this, it will lead to the end of all life on this planet. I promise you. I promise you. We, humanity, right? Yeah, this is a bad idea, guys. I'm just letting you know, right? A, it's going to destroy the ozone layer again. It's going to cause holes to appear over Antarctica, right? Which will melt ice caps faster, right? Like, these people are insane. They are insane. Right? What we need to do is, instead of trying to do crazy experiments to fucking fuck with the planet, we should investigate, A, how big of a risk is this climate change? B, what are the benefits? And C, how do we maximize those benefits, right? There could be a new global age of plenty if we do this right. If it's what they say it is, and I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. Right? It's because all these bullshit predictions they make, right? Oh, the Earth only has 2 years left. I promise you guys, in 2 years, right? Nothing will be different. Everything will be the same as it is now. Exactly, Felix. Yes. DDT was cool. Asbestos was cool. Fucking chlormequat was all good before it started causing people not to be able to have babies, right? All these things, right? Fucking, they are wrong about everything. We should not trust them, right? We should stop this madness. But we won't. We never will, right? Right? And that's the problem, guys, is that all it takes for evil to win is for good men to do nothing. That's why I come out here every day, right? Because I refuse to do nothing. I refuse to allow this, right? I refuse. I refuse. And so should you. Now, guys, and that's why YouTube hates me and they shadow ban me, right? It's because I've proven them wrong at every turn, right? Now, that's why it's important for you guys to support the channel if you can or whatever, right? Because that's the only way I can keep doing this, right? Keep fighting. Well, I mean, I will do it anyway, right? It's not about anything like that. It's literally about speaking my mind. So even if there was nobody watching and I didn't make any money, I would keep doing this, right? But it sure does help. Now, I appreciate you, Ash and Felix and SpaysE and Charlotte and Uzi and Fandom Iconic, my fucking guy, Captain Crappy. I love you, brother. We're going to hang out soon. Yes, I'm just working on getting my my car legal again, and I plan on coming up and hanging out with you, Captain. We'll have a great show. I'll make you into a cartoon, and we'll have a great time, buddy. Blind Dude, I appreciate you. I love you, bro. I love all of you guys. Girl Gong Dog, I love you too, girl. You're a great wife. Keep taking care of my guy for me. Michael King, you're the king of Michaels, bro. I love you. I love all of you. You guys are all fucking badasses. Yeah, oh yeah, we're going to do it. And we're going to jam. We're going to make some badass music. I'll bring my keyboard and my my little looper, and we'll make some badass music, bruh. What is this? Oh, that's a whole nother rabbit hole, Uzi. I'm going to have to dive down that one later, brother. But what I do have is a great enchilada video. Let's watch it. Okay, here's the kind of enchiladas that Girl Gone Dog makes for Blind Dude.
Man, my wife makes the best enchilada. Hot as shit. Yeah, that's sweet.
That's a lucky man. That's a luck. You just saw a lucky man. Look at them enchiladas. I want one. All right, guys, that's going to be it for the show. I got to go. I got a lot of code to write. Because I guess it's on me to protect free speech, guys. All right. I'm making progress, so I don't know how much I can get done. There's a few things I need to do before April 20th. I'm busting my ass, guys. All right. Remember, we go live with all kinds of content whenever the fuck I want. And you never know when the fuck that's going to be. I want to thank everyone for coming out. Make sure you're still subscribed. And click the little bell. I love you too, Ronnie. All right. I love all you guys. All right. I will see you probably